Let's take a live look at the price of crude oil. It's rallied recently at its highest level in about 3 weeks. You can see oil trading right now at $67.62 US. There is a lot of attention on sanctions on Russia. And in fact, just today, U.S. President Donald Trump has pledged what he refers to as supplemental tariffs on Russia of up to 100%. Trump says the U.S. would impose 100% secondary tariffs on Russia if there's no deal in 50 days. The deal he's referring to appears to be some type of ceasefire or peace agreement with Ukraine. Trump says, I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago. Let's talk about this with our next guest, who is a long-standing Canadian expert in the field of commodities, Bart Melek. He joins us now. He's Managing Director and Global Head of Commodity Strategy at TD Securities. He joins us from Toronto. Bart, thanks a lot for joining us. Let's begin with Russia oil and tariffs that have been put on Russia by the U.S. and other countries when the invasion of Ukraine began more than a couple of years ago. How severely has Russia and its oil business been affected by those sanctions?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And the truth of the matter is these tariffs haven't been particularly effective, nor have the restrictions of exports from Russia. In fact, countries like India and China have been feasting on that somewhat cheaper oil from Russia, and total aggregate numbers haven't really dropped very much. The policy measures taken by the Biden administration back then have really been focused on not reducing the amount of oil flow, but rather trying to reduce the price Russia receives. But fundamentally, the impact has been modest on global markets. In the longer run. Initially, of course, when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was a very large concern that these sanctions would be very robust, and we've seen oil moving well into the triple figures here, with oil well over $120. That fell off rather quickly, as it turned out that those sanctions weren't particularly harsh.
And you may be hearing this news headline of a 100% tariff threat for the first time. Any thoughts on a 100% tariff on Russian goods coming into the United States? How much oil historically has come into the United States before, let's say, the invasion of Ukraine?
Well, not very much. Of course, Canada is America's biggest supplier in countries in the Middle East, and by now, even if there was some, I don't recall if there was in the margin any coming in, that would have been restructured at this point. It's not an issue for the United States, and if these measures taken by the United States aren't hitting the oil market directly, in the end, it won't be very effective in reducing flows from Russia. And I suspect that may very well be by design. Traditionally, the United States has been very reluctant to apply any measures that would materially increase prices domestically in the United States. It's never good politics in America to have high oil prices and high gasoline prices.
Okay. What is your take on the oil market? We seem to get so many different views these days, and have received different views for a while now. The market's oversupplied, or it's not oversupplied. Demand is stronger than we might think, or demand is receding. What's your take on the supply-demand fundamentals for oil right now?
Well, our view, and has been that way for quite a while, is that this market is materially oversupplied. We're looking at maybe 1.8 million barrels of supply growth this year, some 1.1 million barrels of supply growth next year, and we're seeing OPEC since April really increase production materially. We estimated well over about 1.1 million barrels of new supply from OPEC alone. And on the demand side of the equation, it's been lousy. To to say the least. China's growth and demand, we're only maybe looking at 0.1 million barrels, 0.15. Global total, we estimate under 700,000 barrels this year, and probably not much more next year, albeit better. So we're looking at oversupply in Q3 and Q2 as well. In fact, when you look at the first quarter of the year, according to International Energy Agency data, the market was oversupplied to the tune of 1.2 million barrels. In fact, we've seen large inventory growth globally, not so much in the United States, and markets have been going, fairly long, all things considered, pricing in geopolitical risk. Of course, not only the Russian developments, but also the risk that there could be, a continuation of conflict in the Middle East, mainly Iran, potentially disrupting flows through the Straits of Hormuz and maybe attacking infrastructure in the Gulf states. It's not a huge possibility, but as far as I'm concerned, based on the fundamentals, oil markets are a little bit too effervescent here. This quarter we're looking at maybe 0.6 million barrel surplus, but at the same time we're going to see refinery runs ramp up, probably gobbling that up for seasonal demand. So we're not really going to see the negative impact, I would say, until Q3, Q4. And in fact, we're looking at prices in Q4 to move on average WTI below $60. And that is because there is more supply chasing a limited amount of demand growth globally.